Yo, good morning, everybody. Joey J. Ping here, RespectMyRegion.com. We are here on episode 5 of the Morning Joint Podcast. Today, I've got my co-host back in the building, back in the business. We got Hannah Gershowitz. What's good?
Hello, everybody.
How you living?
Good morning.
What's new? You
Lots
good?
of new cannabis and music news to talk about today.
Yeah, there's some good stuff going on in the world of weed. Like, for example, I just copped that new Khalifa Kush, the new Wiz Khalifa drop. Look at that. That's not exclusive. You got to be in Cali, baby, to get this. Woo!
Yeah, we do not have that down here.
Man, let me tell you. The only thing that concerns me about that is that it's not grown by cookies. The weed didn't come from cookies. The weed came from a brand called Florical. And that's just, if you were here in Cali and you were told that Khalifa Kush was coming from Florical, you would think twice about buying it. Unfortunately. But today, yeah, everybody, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're back. It's happy Monday. Blessings to you, Dorello. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, everybody that's here with us today. We're going to dive into some news, some breaking news, some cannabis news, some updates, some psilocybin updates. We've got some sports news as well. Hannah doesn't know this, but we're going to be adding sports updates into the world of the Morning Joint because, I mean, when the LA Rams win the Super Bowl, when the Seahawks, 10 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, it's that the city is going to be booming. There's going to be an energy, there's going to be a culture. And so, with anywhere cannabis is legal, it's going to be popping. You know what I'm saying? The athletes are going to be better. They're going to be healthier. They're going to be doing all kinds of dope shit. Which leads me to my first topic of the day. Hannah, I'm going to kick you off of this. We're going to get started. I've got all my topics. You've got all your topics. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Take it away.
She says she's ready, everybody. We're going to get it on and popping. All right, here we go. First story of the day. The NFL awards $1 million to study cannabinoids in pain management. So, as for those of you that are my age, I'm 30. You guys, and if you're a football fan, if you've been a football fan your whole life, you may or may not have been around for the time period where Ricky Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner from the University of Texas and the former Miami Dolphin running back, you guys might remember that he was quite literally kicked out of the league, blackballed because of his cannabis use. He kept failing tests. It was major news back when I was a kid, and like it's just like I've recently met the dude, so it's just really incredible that the NFL is finally coming around, and instead of just continuously having a negative impact in regards to cannabis, now they're coming around and saying, look, we're going to do some studies. We're going to allocate a portion of the budget. Yes, it's only $1 million, but the fact of the matter is that any money in this era towards cannabis, any kind of studies, what we care about is that it's happening. What we care about is that there's new science and information that is just getting access. So that's what we care about. It's an exciting time for that. $1 million to study cannabinoids. Big shout out to the NFL finally catching up. All right. Second thing, U.S. Senate candidate Gary Chambers talks destigmatization in the South. I did interview the senatorial candidate that went viral, Gary Chambers. Big shout out to Big Boy Gary, man. You know what I'm saying. It was a cool interview. It was dope. It was very inspiring because the man is a blogger. He's a writer. And he wrote a blog talking about a gentleman being incarcerated for years and years and years for cannabis. That article got over 40,000 reads. And he realized that his voice, his impact could be greater than just writing and blogging. And so it's very interesting because Gary Chambers, although he may be quote unquote inexperienced, although he may be quote unquote not have enough money to really become a real viable candidate, whatever the excuses are, whatever the justifications are, the fact of the matter is this man puts his time, his effort, his money where his mouth is. What he believes in, he fights for. What he believes in, he rides for. And he definitely is trying to enact change. He is trying to help his community. He's trying to help the Black community. He's trying to help Louisiana. So I just really recommend you guys check out his story, please. And if you feel that it aligns with your beliefs, please consider donating. I'm not a political person, but I do know that cannabis and the South is something that needs to be changed. The culture, the atmosphere, the restrictions, the legislation. If we could possibly change the legislation in the South, it would definitely protect lots of patients out there and my fellow Americans and immigrants and people that came from other countries. Like, they come here, we live here, and we're all just getting arrested for weed in states that are still illegal. So if we could change that, that would be great. Let's see what else we got. So what's holding up the sale of recreational marijuana in New Jersey? So you guys, if you live on the East Coast, if you live out there, you're probably familiar with the fact that there is medical weed legal in a lot of states, right? But recreational cannabis is taking a bit longer to be able to actually get rolling. So what's the holdup? What's the real deal going on? Let's go ahead and dive in. Oh, 1 second. Open the link. Let me roll this up, twist this while this link opens up. Big shout out to Big shout out to Hannah for producing the content that we are talking about today. A lot of good stories. All right. Here we go. Coming out of Somerville, New Jersey, legal pot is supposed to hit the market in less than 2 weeks in New Jersey, but that's not going to happen. So what's the hang up? Anyone waiting patiently for adult recreation sales in New Jersey to begin? February was a semi-hard date thrown out there, but there is still tweaking needed, says the executive director of the New Jersey Cannabis Commission. We started in December accepting applications for cultivators and private manufacturers, essentially businesses that will grow and manufacture, and to date we've received roughly 350 apps. Sales could potentially bring $1 billion in revenue for a state eager to have that to the coffers. Governor Phil Murphy addresses recreational cannabis sales during an up-close. I think we're within a number of weeks and not months where you'll see medical dispensaries get the ability to sell adult use recreational cannabis. So as long as they can convince their commission that they won't abandon their patients. And passing recreational sales in the state, lawmakers insisted on inclusion. Businesses owned by people from economically disadvantaged areas in the state of New Jersey, or businesses owned by people who have passed marijuana convictions for possession. So they tried to really set this up in a way where people have a chance. People can actually apply. They can be considered to actually get a business. But it just seems like it's bottlenecking, which is pretty standard for new states that are just coming online. Unfortunately, there's always kind of like a bottleneck for new brands or like the flower to get grown. I mean, it does take time for flower to grow. It does take time to process that and to package it and to get it to shops after you get it tested. So all of that takes time. So here we go. All right, up next, what do we got? Advocates warn of weed oligopoly as Virginia looks to speed up sales. So when you have these new cannabis states, one thing that's really apparent is that the people that are there first with money always do the most to make sure that their competition has a harder time of coming up as well. So advocates warn of an oligopoly. There we go. Let me say that right. A year after lawmakers legalized recreational marijuana use, Virginia cannabis connoisseurs have limited means to get legal weed. They can grow it, get it for free from a friend, or get a medical license to buy it from 3 multi-state cannabis companies that operate a handful of dispensaries. Lawmakers are advancing legislation that would allow those dispensaries to sell directly to all adults for a year or so before allowing other businesses into the market. That makes no sense. But critics ranging from the Minority Cannabis Business Association to the libertarian-leaning Americans for Prosperity warn that Virginia is giving big operators a blank check. Smaller operators who've borne the brunt of the war on drugs would be at a disadvantage right out of the gate, according to racial justice groups like Marijuana Justice. Now, I want to comment on this first. When you're a big company and you have legislation protecting you from other companies coming up and participating in your market, that is an unfair advantage. And that should not be allowed by these states, especially so when there are hardly no minority business owners, when there are hardly no cannabis companies to begin with. They just said 3 big multi-state operators, and they're considering making it a rule to like not allow others to come in and like come up after them. What the hell is that? For a year? Are you serious? We want to make sure that if we're going to open a new marketplace, there isn't a situation where we're having the state pick winners and losers, said Jacob Fish, Deputy State Director for the AFP. 3 companies currently control the entirety of Virginia's medical marijuana market: Jushi, Columbia Care, and Green Thumb. Serious money is on the table once the state opens up the market to all adults. One Columbia Care estimate puts the potential market at up to $3 billion a year for Virginia. Those companies operate in a number of other states, but are especially bullish about the Commonwealth given its current licensing scheme. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. We view Virginia as one of the best licenses in cannabis. Jim Cassiopo, the CEO of Jushi, told Forbes in November, citing his company's monopoly over sales in Northern Virginia. When you go adult use, sales could triple overnight. Just disgusting. Again. The companies, alongside some lawmakers and advocates, say the plan to give them a head start addresses an urgent need to satiate demand. The warn of encouraging a black market that predates July 1, 2021, when Virginia became the first state in the South to legalize adult possession of marijuana for personal use. This is so frustrating. There is very much a public safety and consumer safety issue. Jen Michelle Padini, executive director of Virginia NORML, told a Senate committee last week, allowing medical marijuana dispensaries to sell is the quickest way to onboard consumers to a regulated space and away from illicit transactions. Again, it's so simple. What they're doing in Virginia isn't right. You shouldn't be having it be set up to where those big ass brands, those big MSOs get the first right for a year simply because they were in the medical market. And now they're in this rec market. It's not fair. It's not right. Virginia, get your fucking shit together. What the hell's going on around here? God. All right, next story. Legalizing marijuana is gaining momentum in Wisconsin. So this is a little bit of like a crossover story for me, right? Weed getting legalized, Wisconsin, right? New emerging market for Wisconsin. They're not real big on drug use. They're not real big on legalizing anything surrounding cannabis, but it seems to be gaining momentum, so that's exciting. The push to legalize marijuana in Wisconsin enjoys some bipartisan support, but backers of bills that would make it legal for either medical or recreational use say it won't happen this year. So again, it's gaining momentum. There's some backers. There's people pushing the bill forward, but it just doesn't appear that it's going to happen this year, 2022. So in the meantime, definitely get out there, be advocating, get some more signatures, get some content, get it in front of more press, get it in front of more of these Democrats and Republicans. There are bills from Democrats and Republicans that would legalize medical marijuana, from Democrats that would also legalize it for rec use, and a bipartisan measure that would decriminalize the possession of marijuana. The bills come after Democratic Governor Tony Evers last year proposing to legalize marijuana in the state budget, a provision removed by Republicans who control the legislature. But that hasn't stopped the conversation about having Wisconsin join the 37 states that have legalized medical marijuana and the 18 that have fully legalized it, including Illinois and Michigan. Wisconsin's other 2 neighbors, Iowa and Minnesota, both allow medical marijuana. We're not going to get it passed this year, don't get me wrong, she said, but we're actually talking about it in very realistic and concrete terms. The fact that we're there and we were not there and we haven't been there for years, but for some reason there's daylight. That's what we have to capitalize on. I think it's a very powerful quote right there. They haven't been there in years past. They're finally there today, and they're talking about where it's going to be at in the future. For people in Wisconsin, I think that's very promising because, again, the other 2 states, neighbors to Wisconsin, have it, and then there's other 2 states that already have medical marijuana as well. So you got 2 with medical, you got 2 with rec. It's an exciting time. You guys definitely want to make sure you guys tap in with that. Wisconsin getting it in. All right, so we're going to switch over to some music updates for you guys. I'm excited about this. So I'm a big West Coast rap fan. I'm also a big South rap fan, a big Atlanta rap fan. And so one of the biggest things out there is that MOZZY out of Sacramento signed with CMG, the label, which is Yo Gotti's label, and his team. So MOZZY, huge artist for people out here. And then adding to the roster for CMG, Yo Gotti, Moneybag Yo, 42 Doug, Black Youngsta, and ESTG are now MOZZY joined the roster, joined the team. MOZZY and Yo Gotti have been running into each other and having conversations for years now, so this is really not too crazy. Famous I'm the One was a recent collaboration. Beat the Case with ESTG from his recent album Untreated Trauma. Just a lot of collaborations out there, so make sure you guys definitely tap in with that. Big shout out to MOZZY, one of my favorite artists, signing a big major deal with Yo Gotti, CMG the label. Let's go. All right. Recently as well, Dr. Dre dropped a new song featuring Ty Dolla $ign and Nipsey Hussle. Diamond Mind. It's from the GTA Online. Like absolutely incredible. You've got Nipsey rapping. You've got Nipsey speaking in Spanish. You've got Dr. Dre rapping. You've got Ty Dolla $ign singing and rapping. It's a really, really lovely song. It's also inspiring. It also is a little bit sad. Nipsey really represented a lot to so many people, and me and my team included. We don't turn to certain things. We turn to Nipsey quotes for certain shit, for guidance and for feedback and for inspiration. And so to have a new piece of Nipsey content that unveils another page and part of his life, something that he was doing before he passed away, it's just really incredible. And so thank you to Dr. Dre for releasing this. Thank you to Ty Dolla $ign. You guys really killed it. And thank you for giving the fans, a chance to see and hear more Nipsey. And then also, too, big shout out to Dr. Dre for what I would consider the best Super Bowl performance I've ever seen in my entire life. 30 years I've been alive. I've probably watched 25 Super Bowls, and that was by far the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. So big shout out to Dr. Dre for killing it. That was crazy yesterday. It was so lit. Mary J. Blige, Kendrick, Eminem. 50 Cent was wearing his old beater that he had, with the checkered things around his neck and around the arms and shit. He was looking like it was 2003 50 Cent in the club video. It was dope, bro. Like the camera angles were crazy on that performance. Snoop Dogg was wearing his fucking motherfucking cripped out blue motherfucking outfit with his big ass chains. It was just, man, that was an LA party, bro. It was a straight up scene, man. It was the culture to a T. And that's all I got for you guys. Today I'm smoking on some Cure Company, the Biscotti. So I really appreciate you all hanging out with me, getting high, listening to some news. We're going to bring Hannah on here next. Hannah?
Emerging Hello, market everybody. Report. Thank you, Joey.
Take it away, homie.
Hi, guys. Hannah here, head editor of RespectMyRegion. Here to talk to you today about different music and cannabis news. First, we're going to start off with some cannabis news. First off, we have Can I Get a Second Chance Cannabis Career Fair this February 17th in LA. 40 Tons brand, which is pretty popular brand and organization over on the West Coast advocating for cannabis legalization and for more diversity in the industry. So they're throwing another Can I Get a Second Chance Cannabis Career Fair. They've thrown many of these so far, and they're always really successful. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So if you're over in LA or over in California looking for a job in the cannabis industry in California, then this is a great opportunity for you to connect with different employers, different brands. And not only that, but there's also tons of resources to help you be a more hireable potential candidate. So there's stuff like help with resumes, haircuts, clothes if you're in need, stuff like that. There's people there to help coach you on interviewing stuff. And there's also lawyers from the Sheeran Group that are there to help with the expungement process, to help start it. So if you need help with any past cannabis convictions, they can help you get started on the expungement process. So there's just literally loads of resources, employers, information available for you there. So if you're looking for a job in the cannabis industry in California, this is the place to be. Again, that's February 17th. It starts at, let's see, 1 p.m., I believe, and then it will end at, I believe, 5 or 6. Yep, 6 p.m. So you can find all the information to this event over on our website, respectmyregion.com. Tons of details on, what to prepare with and all the different resources available and the schedule and everything. So head over to Respect My Region if you're interested, and we'll head over to the next thing. So next we have South Carolina medical marijuana legalization bill is officially approved in the Senate, and it heads for House consideration. So we actually recently, Respect My Region just covered, is weed legal in South Carolina, and the answer has been no. But it looks like there's some progress being made. So a bill to legalize medical marijuana in South Carolina officially passed the Senate on third reading on Thursday, sending the reform measure to the House of Representatives for consideration. So it's already passed through the Senate, and now it just needs to go to the House of Representatives. And then, let's see. Yeah, so it sounds like it was filed late 2020, but then one lone senator had blocked it, but now they have brought it back, and it looks like it's moving through. So yeah, South Carolina residents look forward to medical cannabis, hopefully within the next year or two. Next up, we have another article from our website. This isn't really news, but it's definitely something that's, I guess, something that's going on now that needs to be talked about, and that's cannabis. Cookies cannabis products being counterfeited. There's tons of fake Cookies cannabis products out there. Cookies is one of the most popular cannabis brands literally in the whole country, especially over on the West Coast. We cover tons of Cookies stuff all the time. Very respected brand, high quality cannabis, great genetics. But because of that, there's so many people that are faking it, making fake products, misleading people. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So we read an article about how to spot the differences between the fake and the real products. So if you head over to our website, you can see pictures of the fake and the real products as well to get a better idea. But I'll go over some of like the main things to be able to tell. So some things just to know off the bat is that there's a lot of websites such as like wish.com or even on Amazon, people sell packaging that looks just like the Cookies packaging. It might be a little slightly different. It might not say Cookies, but it might have the same design. It might even say Cookies. It might look exactly the same. So it could be hard to tell these days, but there's definitely signs to be able to tell. And then also, even like smoke shops will sell these fake products, which I don't know how they get away with that, but it's a thing. I went to a smoke shop recently and I saw a product. It was Cookies, like Delta 9 Packwood product. And I'm like, I don't think Cookies makes, well, they don't make the Delta 9 Packwood product. So it was a fake product. But yeah, so it's, you might think that you're going to a trusted smoke shop, and it might be it might be a legit smoke shop that's, licensed or whatever, but they're still somehow selling these fake products. So you have to keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, the only way to get real Cookies products and to know that they are 100% real is to be getting them directly from a licensed seller. So you can go on Cookies website and you can look up licensed sellers and find exactly where these legal products are. Or if you're going to a licensed dispensary, a legal licensed dispensary, they won't be selling fake products, so you will know that that's real. But there's other different ways, such as for the cartridges, they only make half-gram cartridges. So if you see anything that says maybe like 750 milligrams or something different, then it's probably fake, or it is fake because they only make the 500 milligrams. Additionally, you'll see a sticker on all of the flour on the boxes and everything that'll list out a batch number. It'll say the percentage of cannabinoids. It'll say manufactured by either Cookies, or if it's for their like G Pen cartridges, it might say Grenco Science or G Pen. So yeah, head over to our website if you want more information on that, if you're concerned about your cookies products, because it's definitely something to, you know, keep in mind these days, especially if you're not in a legal market. Because yeah, tons of people are just copying it because they know it's popular. Okay, next we have a little bit of psychedelic legalization, or not legalization, but some psychedelic news. I guess, yeah, a little bit of legalization. So the Utah House of Representatives on Thursday overwhelmingly approved a bill to create a task force to study and make recommendations on the therapeutic potential of psychedelic drugs and possible regulations for their lawful use. So not quite any decriminalization or anything, but it's a good step forward, especially in a state like Utah. It's definitely surprising to see this being passed, especially overwhelmingly approved. So it sounds like, um, yeah, they're creating a task force so then they can study the therapeutic potential of psychedelic drugs. And hopefully I'm pretty confident that they'll find some good findings, and hopefully that'll lead to some more progress in that space. Next, we have now we're hopping over to music news. We got a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of EDM, some festival news. First, we got hip hop festivals. So yeah, 2022, big year for festivals. We did have festivals last year, even though it was really rocky. Lots of cancellations, lots of rescheduling, just a lot of uncertainty. But it's kind of looking like, cross our fingers, that 2022 is going to be a good year for live events. There's been an overwhelming amount of festivals announcing their lineups. Tons of new festivals that are, coming out of nowhere, like these, grand festivals with these huge lineups that, these huge festival throwers like Live Nation and stuff, they're just coming up with all these new festivals. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you about some hip hop festivals going on. First, we got South by Southwest, not specifically a hip hop festival. They kind of have everything really. But they have a big hip hop section of the festival. This year, there's some artists like Maxo Cream and Sada Baby, and then that is March 11th through the 20th, with the festival on the 14th through the 20th. Yeah, 14th through the 20th is the music festival. Next, we have Rolling Loud Miami, pretty much the biggest hip hop festival in the world, the most popular. Every year, the lineup is stacked with like nearly every huge artist in hip hop. So, although the lineup is not out yet, it's pretty guaranteed that it's going to be absolutely stacked. I could list a lot of the names that they featured in the past, but it's like quite literally almost every big hip hop artist ever. So, and those tickets sell out really quick, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Next, we got Days of Summer Cruise Fest. I have not heard of this previously, but it looks like it is a cruise, a 3-day cruise, departing from Miami July 1st. Goes to the Bahamas. It looks like it's hosted by DJ Khaled, with Lil Baby and other performers. Yeah. Next, we got Smokin' Grooves. I know our team is excited for that. That is March 19th in Los Angeles. It's a mix of hip hop and R&B. Got artists like Miguel, Smino, Nas, Erykah Badu, Sir, tons. Next, we got Dreamville Festival. So Dreamville, that it is J. Cole's record label and I guess music collective. So he has a ton of great artists on that roster. So this festival pretty much brings a lot of those artists and usually other artists to North Carolina, over in, I believe, Charlotte, maybe. But yeah, the lineup is not yet announced, but it's always loaded with Dreamville members and other artists such as SZA, Big Sean, and Nelly. Next, we got the Smokers Club Fest. Another one that I know our team is super excited for. That's got Kid Cudi, ASAP Rocky, Playboy Cardi, Schoolboy Q, Wiz Khalifa, 2 Chainz, like Earl Sweatshirt, Danny Brown. Like this lineup is absolutely stacked. It's like a mini version of Rolling Loud with better artists, honestly. Let's see. That is in San Bernardino, California on April 30th, one-day event. Next, we got Lovers and Friends, and that is May 14th through 15th in Las Vegas. This festival is a lot of like old school hip hop and R&B artists. So artists like Usher, Ludacris, TLC, Miss Lauryn Hill, Nelly, Neo, Trey Songz, T-Pain, Lil Kim, Timbaland. It's loaded. Tons of, if you're trying to do some, throwback vibes, this is the place to be. That's all for hip hop festivals. I'm gonna go into another festival in Washington D.C. So apparently, Washington D.C. is getting their first ever EDM festival, and it is of course thrown by Insomniac, which is great to see. We love Insomniac expanding. They've been throwing even more events in Florida, more events on the West Coast, and it looks like they're expanding to other new regions. So this is called Club Glow, and it's April 30th through May 1st. And artists that are performing include Above and Beyond, Alan Walker, Diplo, Grizz, Honeylove, Martin Garrix, Seven Lions, Wheathen, and more to be announced. Yeah, if you're in DC, this is the place to be. The first ever EDM festival in DC at the RFK Festival Grounds. Word. Next up, we have New York City's Universal Hip Hop Museum is launching in the metaverse this spring. Whether you like it or not, the metaverse is expanding and music is getting involved with that. So I mean, tons of artists are getting involved with the metaverse, but it looks like it's expanding beyond that. So the Universal Hip Hop Museum is the city's first brick and mortar hip hop museum in the Bronx. So it's, in-person museum, and now they're bringing it online. It looks like it's under construction, and it's going to have live musical performances, break dancing sessions, fashion shows, all that can be viewed online. Yeah, so look forward to that. If you're into the metaverse and you're into hip hop, definitely something to check out. Last up, we have another festival. The inaugural Lookout Fest brings rising hip hop and genre bending artists to Hollywood. So this is another brand new festival thrown by or put on by Live Nation and Masked Gorilla. So Masked Gorilla is I think an event company. Sorry, just threw a blank there. But it's also a concert series that's been going on for ever since 2014. So they've thrown over 24 concerts, sold out shows in California and maybe beyond California. But it's mostly hip hop music. Sometimes they bring in other genres and a lot of genre bending artists. But they focus on putting on artists that are like soon to be, huge names. So Lookout Fest, the name kind of, you're looking out for these artists. So some of the artists, it's a pretty small lineup, but it's only a one-day festival. It's still a pretty big lineup for a one-day festival. So headlining, we got Ski Mask the Slump God, already a big artist, one of my favorite rappers. So dope to see him on there. And then next we got Snot. So this is a pretty buzzing, rising artist right now. He actually just released I believe this is his third studio album called Ethereal. We just covered it over on our website, so go check that out. We also had Snot featured on our 21 Rising Rappers of 2021 list, so he's definitely one to look out for. The lineup also has City Morgue, who we had featured on our Rising Rappers list. City Morgue is a duo. It's kind of like rock hip hop. So it looks like this lineup has some of that vibe to it, kind of punk hip hop. It's also got Trash Talk, Show Me the Body, Cash Dami, 2K Baby, Who Killed XIX, and more. That takes place again. That is April 2nd. Tickets are available. They're pretty cheap. They're only $50. So that is all I have for you today. Tons of cannabis and hip hop and EDM news. And we'll bring Joey back in here.
Bang, bang. There we go, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. Episode 5 of the Morning Joint podcast presented to you guys by Respect My Region. Today we had Hannah Gershowitz in the building with the Emerging Market Report. Really appreciate you sharing some of those stories, Hannah. There's some really cool lineups going on out there, some new festivals that are popping off. I guess they're not new, but seemingly new. And man, big shout out to just all the cannabis updates, right? Wisconsin got some new news. A lot of really good stuff going on there. Again, some exciting stuff, at least on my end, right? Khalifa Kush review coming soon on YouTube. And then also, too, many of you guys know that I do work with Buddy's brand, and Buddy's just dropped flower in California. So check that out. If you guys are out here in Cali, big shout out to Weed Maps for having us yesterday at the High in the Hills Mansion Weed Maps Super Bowl party. That was fire. Thank you guys. Big shout out to you guys as well. Hannah, I'll see you next week. We got some work to do, so let's get back to it. Love you guys.
Peace out, guys.
Peace. Like, follow, subscribe.